All right, Monday. Was it raining out there?
Yes, it was.
It rained? Nice. Yeah, that was like, oh gosh, I woke up to the rain this morning, and you know how that feels when you gotta roll out of bed and be like, get ready to go to work, and you're like, no, I want to stay home. I want to stay home. It's Monday, people. Bon man once again. It's the 7th of April, and today we're back at it again here at 9 o'clock. Well, not 9, it's 7 minutes after 9 o'clock, and we're in the breakfast lounge. Well, my guest this morning is on the final leg of his book tour. Author Granny Calvin Brown is here to promote his basically his books again, but the last one, which not the last one, his fourth book actually is called The Salesmen, not the Salesman, but The Salesmen. Let me say good morning and welcome once again to Granny. How you doing?
Good morning, Lady Grace. Thank you for having me back. I am doing fine. Thank you.
You're busy.
I'm busy, yeah.
Very busy.
Done a lot of radio interviews, a lot of tours, recordings, everything.
Okay, all right. So yeah, you're busy writing, publishing, producing, and everything. You're a dating advisor. You're basically introducing. You started off with learning the business of life, and then you become a dating advisor. And then you tell us about Gabriel, who was in Spain, I believe. That's what you said the last time.
Spain.
Barcelona, Spain. And now it's The Salesman. Well, apparently in this, it's a novel. So in the sweltering heat of Central Florida, it says there that two boys from privileged upbringings embark on parallel journeys towards the American dream. Their paths, though beginning 60 miles apart, are destined to cross in ways neither could have imagined. As they navigate the glittering world of luxury sales, their early success seems to promise everything they've ever wanted, but beneath the surface of their achievements, there are forces at work that will challenge everything they've built. You actually came from this business of being a salesman.
Yes, exactly. I did sales and marketing in my first career. Cell phones. Then I went into prepaid, and then once that company was sold, I kind of took 5 years off, and then when I came back in, I was doing distribution and product development.
Yeah.
So, but still in telecommunications. So I've been in that for a long time.
You said that you basically opened that gateway to prepaid services here on the island. That was something very
At the time, people thought I was crazy, and funny thing, I couldn't find no one to invest with me on it. Because
really?
Yeah, no one. And the last advice I got was from Michael Harris. He said, "If you think this is so great, you believe in it, right? Use every cent you got, invest in it, and if it works the way you say it will, all the profits, all the money will be yours." And I didn't take that in a bad way. I took it in a good way because that's what I ended up doing. And the rest is history.
When did it actually catch on, though, that people understand, hey, I can put some money on my phone, and then
it was a hit the moment I started.
How much did it differ, though, from what it is today?
Oh, now it is the main thing. So back then you just had ECC, and then when you wanted a cell phone for basically postpaid, they would check to see if you owed TLM anything. And if you had outstanding bill, you couldn't get a postpaid phone.
Exactly.
And so when I came up with prepaid, it was okay. Now you can just get a prepaid phone. So that helped too.
Yeah, you're not getting out the ballpark actually. And the thing is that so now when you look at it today, a lot of the phone companies are actually basically the phone providers, I should say, are actually looking more that the number on prepaid is greater than postpaid.
Yes, because people, one, they don't owe you.
Yeah.
You don't have the administration. You don't have to make invoices. And they pay as they go in advance, not even after the fact. So it's a great deal. Even though I was a good salesman, I didn't sell that concept good to investors because, like I said, nobody wanted to invest with me. And these were the people who actually knew me at the time. Really knew the successes I was having, the momentum and everything. But they said, prepaid, I don't think so.
Yeah, because I want to take it and I'm going to run with it. Take it away from you and run with it because I see potential in it. That's usually the case.
But they didn't see the potential, so I guess that's why I had the success because I was able to then do it on my own.
Right.
And boom.
You are incorporating concerts and events actually.
Yes,
with this
we were
prepaid
doing
promotion too.
Yeah, and you know, concert was one of those things where I did a concert. The first concert I did was with Sweet Leroy. He had this brilliant idea to put containers around the Carnival Village
I
grounds.
remember that. Which concert was that again?
That was the first Beanie Man concert.
Oh, okay.
Beanie Man had not come like in Simon for like 12 years or something like that. And he said, man, and he had a big hit, Sim Simma. Sim Simma, who got the keys to my bimmer?
Right, yeah.
And he like, man, we get Beanie Man. I know Beanie Man. He owe me a favor. Da 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 da.
That's Leroy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like in the industry, everybody owes this man a favor. For real.
Yeah.
The prices he got was like incredible. And I'm like, the containers around the village. You say, yeah, we can stack them twice.
It was actually over here.
Yeah, right where
in the
Carnival
parking
Village
area.
is. No, the first one was where Carnival Village is. It was Carnival Village grounds with dirt,
Okay.
where we used to build the boots every year and break them down.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, and then
Yeah.
he wanted to take it off.
Yeah,
Put the
this was
containers
back in
around.
1997.
I'm thinking, yeah.
This was
I kind of picture it in my mind right now.
And we had double stacks on the side and single stack in the front.
But
Yeah.
we right with a container.
Oh man, and he's like, Georgia Construction would build the containers, and I think CGM and somebody else would bring the containers in. And before they sent them out, they would hold them for like a week. And I'm like, this idea is too good to not see it happen for real.
Yeah.
And so that was my first concert.
Concert. Yeah.
And then the marketing.
And it was a hit.
Oh my God! It was actually, to be honest, it was the first concert. It was the only concert I really made money on.
Okay. Wow.
Every other concert after that was kind of like, because I sponsored them on my own. So when you're paying everything yourself, you know, it's harder to make, you know,
big
money.
profit, right?
But it catapulted Cellular One at the time into the stratosphere with all the marketing that went behind it. So then it became my marketing tool. All the promotion and marketing money just went into the concerts.
Cellular One.
That was it.
How long did it last though? I mean, Cellular One, the company that you actually founded.
Yeah, it was from 1993 and it was sold in 1999. And then I think after 6 years, the new company, they kind of closed doors. They had, you know, again, not every great idea worked everywhere, and they had basically a New York idea. It didn't work in St. Martin.
Yeah.
So it didn't last.
So what great idea do you have now? I mean, you've resorted to writing books.
Writing books, that's my new great idea.
Right.
Hopefully one or all of my novels become a movie or a screenplay or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
I'm thinking of making my first book a documentary, actually. So I'm going through that, doing all
that's
the research.
learning the business of life. Because that's basically a journey of your life.
It's a journey of my life. Yes.
Of your life. And I think that's a brilliant idea if you want to create this, turn this into a documentary so people can actually see. But then you got to handpick your actors to portray you as a little boy.
Right, yeah.
Portray someone that was your father and your mom and, you know. So that's going to take a while.
Yeah, and because it's a documentary, most of it, the actors may not be speaking in every scene.
Okay. All right.
It's just kind of like acting on a part.
Okay.
And then I got a story in there, the bullying story. So if I don't make the entire book, then I just make it that section, which can really use to motivate and educate the youngsters.
So you gotta find somebody to narrate it then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's in the making.
Yeah.
So 4 books in what time span we're talking about here?
So they were all written within a year and about half, but they were all published in 1 year, within a 12-month period. Yeah. There's one other book I have, which is When I Grew Up. So that's a book that I did with a kindergarten class at Asher Stevens School. Actually, I have a copy of it right here.
Yeah.
And I'll show it to the listeners. And this is
Viewers.
a book, the viewers, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is a book where the kids actually record their own history. So they kind of write their name, their age, their favorite thing to do, their favorite color, and when they grow up, what they want to be, and then they draw themselves as to how they see themselves.
Okay.
And it's very cute, and I put that together.
What goes into writing a book?
Parents.
I'm sorry? No. We'll get back to this. But what goes into writing a book? Because, some of the authors are like, hey, I can't write 4 books in 1 year.
Well, one, I have the time because I'm retired now.
Okay.
And secondly, I used to write a lot of documents, but more for engineer, developing products and stuff like that. You got to write out what the product is supposed to do, what the front end is supposed to look like, what the back end is supposed to look like, how each side interacts with it. I never knew that it would help me to write books. The difference between the two is books are for public consumption. So now I need an editor to edit them so that everyone can read them.
Right.
Documents I did not. You just write it, me and the engineer will have conversations, we can, figure everything out. So it's kind of like everything was already there, and now I can execute.
Okay.
And I basically start with a synopsis overview, and then I tweak that, and once I have it, now I can say, okay, now I can start to write the book. Yeah.
Who's your proofreaders? Who are your readers here before you actually publish a book?
I have an editor. Some books I use 2.
Okay.
Like Learning the Business, I use 2 of them.
Okay.
Gabriel, I use 1, but she was editing after every chapter.
They're mentioned in the book, of course.
Yes, they're mentioned.
Yeah, okay.
She's a lady out of Pennsylvania. And then the guy, I think, he's in Sacramento, California.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And then dating advice, I had 2 editors because I needed to have a male and a female. So I needed a male to validate what I say and a female to agree with me, to agree with us. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about the salesman, because we're already familiar with Learning the Business. Gabriel, of course, we're gonna get back to that and your dating advice. We heard a whole lot of that last week about your dating advice, a book that you actually wrote for your daughter. But Salesman, this again is an area where you're actually coming from when it talks about sales. How much has sales changed in your opinion? Because it has gone more digital now.
Yes.
How it used to be, you go from door to door, you run behind people and get the sales. But now, how challenging is it now more for persons who actually, I wouldn't really say challenging, it's easier. It's somewhat easier, but more difficult in a sense for persons out there to get their products out there to sell, because it's a booming business, but you got to look at the funding also to actually get it out there.
Yeah, it's become more expensive if you don't have the skills, and because there's so much more options. And it is actually to some extent easier for people to market a product, which makes so much marketing. Your marketing have to end up being very unique, because if it's not unique, it doesn't get seen.
Right, competitive.
Competition is just fierce.
Yeah.
All around, and there's so much of it.
Right.
And now, you can't just do it. So back in the day, you just had newspaper, you had radio, and I mean, you used to make all my ads. I used to blitz every radio station, period. Now, radio stations is more local. And then you still got to go digital for people who don't listen to radio. Because they're in their car only playing CDs and MP3s and all of that.
Yeah.
And then you got the apps. So you literally have to advertise everywhere at the same time. And if you don't have the skills, now you got to pay different people to do different things. And so it's very complicated.
Meta is also one of our biggest competitors right now.
Yeah. And I'm old school, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to do the things I know how to do, right? And I'm going to do those things well. I build on my strengths, and then I go from there.
But again, like I was saying, you're basically in a sense also competing with the bigger guys, the big boys out there, because you are competing with Meta, which is Facebook, which is IG.
Yeah.
And
I don't have an IG account. I got a Facebook account.
Yeah, but Zuckerberg is telling you, okay, you want me to put this out there? All right, this is $5 a day.
Yeah.
And they make up the whole package deal for you if you want to get your stuff out there. So that's why every time when you go on, my page, of course, Breakfast Lounge is already, I already have to dish out money to get that out there because many times you just go to come and say like, oh, it looks good.
Good,
and
exactly.
They ask you every day, okay, so what? So what are you doing here? Come on, get more, and they keep. But which is good though, because I like it for the fact that they push you and they motivate you.
It is sales, yeah.
It is sales.
Because they are selling.
Right.
Right. That's what they're doing. They're selling to you.
To me, right.
No, you gotta sell.
To them. Isn't it something?
Yeah, it is.
It's fierce, but it's good.
Yeah.
Because it puts you out there, it gets you out there. So people who don't know exactly who you are, like they become inquisitive. Okay,
you gotta dive in. Yeah.
Let me like this page and see what happens.
Yeah.
You get to a point now where actually it's an opportunity for you to invest at the same time to get return.
Because everything is gonna saturate, and that's, if you're not saturating, you're almost not doing anything. Before you could do 1 or 2 interviews a week. The other day I had 3 interviews in one day.
Yeah.
Today I'm having 2 interviews in one day.
Okay.
Because that's just the way it is now. Because not everyone is in the same place.
Yeah.
So you have to attack everywhere at the same time.
At the same time, one of the things that you see is that a lot of creation of a lot of podcasts also.
Yeah,
we're talking sales, and that is where the money is at now too.
Yeah.
Everybody, even in the United States, they're stepping out away from their radio jobs and saying, "Hey, I'm going over here, boy."
Because if you got so many fans and people who advertise with you in one area, if you go on your own, you get all those advertisements.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's competitive, and before you know it, there's hundreds of thousands of podcasters too. Right? And then now you still have to sift through all of those podcasters.
Yeah.
So the good thing is you carry your fans with you.
Of course.
And then you connect with other people on the same standard that you are, because you're not going to get those big boys to give you a plug.
Not so easily.
So people who is on the same level as you can plug you, and you can plug them. And now you guys are sharing the resource of each other's customers, followers, subscribers.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way.
Do you look at with all that's going on now in technology? Do you think somewhere along the line that radio actually will be phasing out?
It's just going to go online. It will still be radio because people still want to hear music.
Yeah.
But it's just not going to be the traditional radio as we know it, right?
Yeah.
But it's still
something like what Sirius did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. It's still a media broadcast. It's just like people say news is going to go away. No, it just went online.
Yeah.
It's still on TV.
Yeah.
And they're still getting high ratings on TV.
But they're streaming it online.
But they're streaming it simultaneously.
In case you miss something. Because sometimes if I miss the 6:30 news with David Miro, I would go on my Facebook page and it pops up. Okay, let me see this story. Let me look at this.
And they're also sharing reels. They're doing reels like 60 seconds clip on 2-minute clips of like the main headline or the main
reels,
buzz.
Right.
Yeah, they're doing that too. So they're doing just like what me and you would do to get our information.
And the thing is that I'm trying to keep up, Calvin. I'm not trying to keep up. God help me. I'm trying to keep up.
Yesterday,
and I have to.
I spent 2 hours, right, recording 2-minute reels.
You put your
Someone interviewed me, but instead of doing so I did a 1 hour long interview with one guy.
Yeah, but you gotta keep it down to the video.
And then I did another 1 hour interview, but it was one question at a time. Cut, start over, cut, start over, cut.
But you notice what they're doing though, right? And I always tell people social media, and this is all about salespeople. We're talking about salesmen here about the book.
Yeah.
And social media listens, because there are apps on your phone that you could actually log in and turn it off. Right. But that's what they do. They listen and they listen.
Their reaction, and that's where AI come in. And I tell people, we think we're programming AI. No. AI is programming us.
And that's the whole thing, because it's I don't know. It's so complicated. I don't want to say it's complicated, but it's so. It's almost
you become an adrenaline junkie for it.
Yeah, but at the same time, these people are genius, when you look at it, because when you sit there, this device here that you hold in your hand, it basically holds a lot of information that you put
it's a
out
powerful
there.
tool.
Very, very powerful.
It allows you to multitask in ways we could never do it.
And you gotta explore it.
Yeah.
If you like something, this is what it does do. Oh yeah, she likes podcasts. Let me send this to her.
The thing is,
let me show you how to create a podcast. And they keep coming at you all the time.
I used to always say to females, like especially in stations, you have this kind of becoming that way. If you see a guy with a girl, the first time it's okay. The second time there's something going on. The third time something is definitely going on. The algorithm on social media is doing a similar thing. The first time you click on it, they send it to you again. No, they send it to you again, 3 or 4. If you click on it a second time, they hit you with 12. And before you know it, that's all you get. So I tell people, be careful what you click on social media. Because especially when it comes to dating advice. I will post something that's realistic and somebody will send me something completely opposite. But the thing is, if you click on that opposite, they will feed that to you. And before you know it, that becomes ingrained in your brain as that is the norm when it's not. And so people have to be careful. Don't click on that one-dimensional thing more than twice. Because once you go to 3 times, that's all the feed is going to send you. So the computer starts programming you, reinforcing to you what you already thought and had in your head. And now, that's all you think. So
and it's like, I'm not letting you get away until, until you purchase this.
Yeah. They do it with ads, they do it with everything. I will go in. Sometimes I feel like I have a conversation about something and then an ad come of it. It's like your phone is eavesdropping on you, right?
I told you they're listening.
They're listening.
I told you they're listening. They have a certain system that they set up. I'll show you an example. There are many times that I have sat here and my colleague and I would talk about something or whatever it is, and then I would probably play a song or something, and as I go on my phone, they're going to hit me something right there about the artist.
And I think it's Sony. They changed their Siri, like their virtual assistant. So you got like Siri, you got all the different names. So Siri is sitting and waiting to hear her name called, which means she's listening to everything that's going on, right? But she's only going to react when she hears her name called. And Sony did away with that. You have to actually press something on the phone in order to get their virtual assistants activated. Because I think Apple was sued on it because they were caught, somebody was able to prove that they're eavesdropping, on the conversation. Alexa is the same thing. Because they're waiting to hear the name call, which means for you to wait to hear your name call, it means you must be listening.
Exactly. That's why when you look at, for example, what Netflix does. Netflix asks you once you watch a series or a movie, they ask you thumbs up,
thumbs up, and you got 2 thumbs, right?
And then they forward it to you.
Exactly.
We think you'd like this too. We think you would like this too. So they just keep.
So their survey is 1 or 2 clicks. Back in the day when I used to do surveys, I said I only want a 3-question survey. And people say, you need 5 questions to really understand. No, when you give a 3 question, you just ask the main 3 things. Because really, this is the way our brain works. We don't know it, but that's the way it works. We really have 3 favorite friends, 3 favorite things to do, 3 favorite songs that we really love.
3 favorite pair of shoes. 3 favorite shirts.
Because
even though we buy new ones when we go, don't we still want one?
Exactly. Favorite jeans. There's always 3.
Absolutely.
We don't have 5, 6, 7, or 10 favorite things.
No.
And the last time I did a scenario with the female, I asked male and females, think of the 10 things you want in a partner. And when I start breaking down how many things you're ready to give up, 8 out of 10 came down to 3 things, and there was 2 who still just had 2. I'm like, but our brain doesn't start with the 3 things we gotta have. It starts with the 10 things that we want.
That you want. Perfect. And that's in the book. That's in the book, Calvin. Definitely worth
it. It's not in that book, it's in the dating advice book.
The dating advice book.
Because we all come down to just the deal breakers. Right? And we don't realize that that's the way we work. But if we just, and it's the difference between wanting our needs, going for our needs versus going for our wants.
Right.
The needs are basic. And if we go for them, we save so much time and energy and get what we actually want instead of chasing what we want and end up not getting what we need.
Getting anything at all. And that is so true, Calvin, because when you break it down, like you were saying, there are only 3 things actually that, sometimes tell me about it.
You may pick maybe 5 and then you put back 2 and you say, okay, it's one of these 3.
Most of the time it's none of the 3. Seriously. Because sometimes you already have in your mind what it is you want, but then still you're looking for options. Like maybe this one, maybe that one. Let's do this or let's do that. But so right.
What I do, I go into the closet and I take whatever is in front. Because every time I wear it and I wash it, I put it in the bag.
Yeah, you're a man. It doesn't
so
work like that with
it just comes out.
It doesn't work like that with women. I have, my closet is color coded.
Oh my God.
My closet is color coded. So you have all the slacks, the pants in one rack. That's on a separate shelf. And then you start off with the whites, and the browns, the greens, the yellows, the reds, and then it makes it easier for me because when I know people just tell me to raise you're not a freak, but I just have a kind of OCD. Kind of OCD.
I have a little OCD too, but
Yeah, but I have it to that extent, and the OCD thing is like that I go in the closet and I have to have everything color coded, and then I look and I was like, okay, I want to wear red today, so I have to go in the red section. I want to wear green today, I go to the green section. Kind of makes it easier for me too.
It's whatever works. I mean, for me, I basically, the only clothes I have in my closet is the clothes that I like to wear.
Yeah.
If I don't like to wear it, it's gone.
Wow.
Because I don't want to.
Yeah, I give away a lot of stuff too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What are the best laid plans here that you talk about?
Best laid plans is, failing to plan is a plan to fail.
Absolutely.
Right? But sometimes you got like when I was in the Marines, we have plan A, plan B, plan C, and then we improvise.
Okay.
And you train like that, right? And so for me, a best laid plans, I'll have a plan, but if it doesn't work, I'm on to the next plan. I got a plan B. I hear some people say, well, you can't have a plan B because then your plan A is not going to be so good. From my experience, many a times the best laid plans fail. And if you don't have a backup, then what? And if you can't improvise, then what? And so in this book, they had a plan, a really good plan, but it failed. And then they had to go, but they had contingencies because the guy who planned it is an ex-Marine.
So you're saying that you should have a plan B at all times?
At all times.
Okay, a backup plan.
You gotta have a backup plan. You gotta have even sometime a plan C.
But even if you have a plan there, and then you know for a fact that okay, I have it. I've worked on this plan for such a long time, and I can go in on this plan, and it's bound to work, but eventually fail.
Because reality changes things.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not gonna give too much away, but they were planning a bank robbery, right? And they could not anticipate just an old lady walking in with a walker.
Yeah.
And then behind her there was a lady with a stroller. You lost 3 minutes. In a bank robbery, 3 minutes is actually what it takes to rob the bank. Yeah. And now you just lost 3 minutes with 2 people just
in and out. Yeah.
So the best laid plan sometimes just fails in reality.
Right. Now, also you talk about the first meeting. What is the first meeting all about? The first meeting is when the 2 guys, the 2 salesmen, remember it says they crossed paths 4 times. Okay.
And the first time they meet was just a blip. And then they would end up meeting 3 more times after that. Mm-hmm. But the first time, neither one of them actually knew that this brief meeting would actually lead to other things.
Right.
And they said hello, right? Mm-hmm. But they didn't even realize what would happen and how they would change each other's path forever. Yeah.
Wow.
I realize that.
Interesting though. Now, you also talk about the hidden connection.
All right. So
what are the hidden connections here?
So I'm not going to give that one too far away, but it's almost like something that no one sees, anyone knows, anyone anticipates. And when it comes to you commit a crime and you want to get away clean, there's always that little thing that the police doesn't know. So you realize the police always ask for blueprints. You know, when the FBI or SWAT team stuff comes up, they want a blueprint of the structure, the building, the area, so they can know, so they can anticipate what the guys may try to evade them.
Yeah, the next
right?
day, right.
And so in that, there were some hidden things that no one actually knew, anticipated, but again, plan A, plan B, plan C.
Right.
This guy had it all down.
How does the hidden connection actually connect with your dating advice, if there is any connection?
No, there is no connection.
There's none whatsoever.
There's none whatsoever, because that book is a crime thriller.
Thriller, yeah.
Right. It's an action thriller when this is a self-help.
Okay, all right. So it's basically a novel.
It's a novel.
Yeah.
Now, some of the characters in there, there's a character, Kelly. She's actually my niece. And her character in the book is literally who she is as a person. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you get part of that kind of real. I mean, the whole story is not a real story, but her character is real.
Right.
Yeah. And all the trips she makes. St. Martin is in there.
Okay.
I'm actually in there as her uncle because I am her uncle.
Oh.
And, you know, and everything. So her character in all of that is a real part of.
How fictional here?
Yeah.
It's a novel. It's a
novel. So the core story is fictional, but her character is real.
It's real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this one, actually, you worked on this one for how long?
That one I did about 3 months. It takes me about 3 months to write a book, more or less.
Really?
And then because I started with that in August, September, and it was done for Christmas, but then I couldn't get it published because the rush for Christmas, everybody's doing everything. So that came out in January.
So you're basically on your computer a lot. How many hours do you spend a day?
So I can write for like a week straight and then I take a week off because I gotta get the idea in my head.
Right.
So when I sit down to write, I can actually write.
There's no writer's block?
No, because I already know what I'm going to write. I'm
Okay.
not writing and thinking at the same time, basically.
But
I already know what I'm going to write.
Some writers do experience that. The writer's block, as much as they go into writing, there's somewhere along the line that your brain actually sort of like, like there's a freeze basically.
I guess depending on your writing style, like if you don't know what you're going to write and you sit down to write, now you have to think and write at the same time. I know what I'm going to write when I sit down to write.
But you're thinking at the same time too.
Just to organize it.
Okay.
But I already know what it's going to be.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it'll take me a week to write a chapter. That particular book, the chapters are like about 18, 20 pages. Gabriel, each chapter was 40 pages. So I had to
you said that the last time.
It's very big.
Here.
So with that one, I still wrote a chapter in a week, but it was more of a more relaxed pace. And because I wanted that story on a more faster pace, I really had to play the scenario in my head over and over and over. It's like, okay, if I tweak this here, I tweak this here. So by the time I sit down to actually, type it out, it's already there. You know what I mean? The core of the story is already there.
When did you discover that you had this talent actually to write?
I mean, I like telling stories. One of my childhood heroes in storytelling is Paul Kane's
Douglas.
Right. So and he's just this calm, collective, just tell a story. I believe he was even making it up on the stage instead of rehearsing it and then coming to tell it. So with that combination and be able to now write it, it's something I didn't know I had before until I started doing it.
Okay.
So my first book was the one that really said, man, once I got through this, it was like, well, I got this Gabriel story in my head. I should start with this, and Gabriel came out. And once that was done, but this one, like I said, I had it edited chapter by chapter because I didn't have the confidence then. Dating advice, I wrote half the book before I got the first editor to actually
listen or read it.
Take a look at it.
Right. Okay.
Salesman, I wrote the entire book before I had anyone look at it. So I'm also improving as I go along because now I understand the structures, how it's supposed to be, and that book is different than Gabriel. Salesman is written where you come to the reality of them in the bank, robbing the bank, and then the next chapter takes you back as to how they got to the phases. So it's not a straight line story, it's a back and forth.
Yeah.
So it's a new style that, so each of the new one I'm making now, the Catalyst Within, that also has a different
You're writing
styling.
another book now as we speak?
Yes, I'm writing another novel.
Have you gotten, you're blowing me away with this. Have you actually met with any of our local authors, like international renowned author Lasana Sekou? Have you gotten to the point of even giving any of your books so that he can look at your books?
I tried
House of Nehesi.
House of Nehesi, I engaged with them on my first book, but they said that's not a project that they really were interested in at the time.
Okay.
And so once I went away from them, I never got the chance. I really never took the time to go back.
Okay.
But no, so I have a good following locally because it's not everyone, like people who buy on Amazon, people who buy in the States. I don't get to talk to them after the fact and say, give me some feedback, what you think. So it's like you and different people who read the book and interview me that can say, okay, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is what I like, But I do have Richard, I got Asha, I got Brian, I got a few people who actually will read the books and say, hey, this, that. There's sometimes they even find a mistake that was overlooked by the editor and me, and then I can go correct it, and then
But isn't that something you should try to avoid though?
Yeah, I mean you could try, and then it happens anyway,
Yeah.
Because sometimes you miss something, and it's small. One time I think it was a word and it was a typo, so now I had to turn off my autocorrect because I use grammatically correct, I think the app is called Grammarly, so it formulates the grammar for public consumption to a certain extent.
Okay.
But sometimes it correct because the computer still doesn't know human conversation versus just practical grammar, because human conversation, with the AIs, they don't understand human conversation versus just you're making you're just writing a document.
Okay. Do you in any way kind of like go to AI or for ChatGPT or anything for when it comes to writing your books, for asking ideas and stuff like that, or you just
because I'm writing a made up story.
Okay.
I'm
fictional.
not. Yeah, it's a fictional story, so it doesn't. I've tried it. It can't work. Well, it can't work for it can't work for the stories I'm writing.
Okay.
If I was writing something where all the information is already out there, yes, because it's searching the internet for all this information. It's really not making up anything for you.
Right.
It's organizing it for you. But when it comes to human conversations, it doesn't work for me. So I use Grammarly, which is basically I should say, if you're typing something,
typo maybe.
It kind of helps you with the grammar.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I can't use the AI.
Okay. So while you're working on this new book, just give us above on the surface.
Okay, on the surface. So what the synopsis? I could always share the synopsis. Another novel.
Okay.
And this one is a suspense drama. So it's about a young lady who was in a car accident. She was going through a green light and someone ran a red and crashed into her. She wakes up in a Boston hospital 9 days after. And while the police came to just have a talk with her so they could dot their I's and cross their T's, they said, well, you was a car accident, blah, 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 but we found 2 guns in your car. One gun is registered to you, while the other gun has a serial number filed off. And ballistic testing showed that gun was involved in 29 homicides spanning decades. And so that's where the book unfolds. Okay. The problem is now she needs to answer. Crime drama type of thing. And she needs to answer for this. Yeah. But her problem is now she has amnesia. Okay. And so the book starts to where they're giving her this information, and now she has to start remembering.
Okay.
She doesn't even know her name.
Wow.
And so she got to remember
Sounds like
her
a
name.
movie I saw.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And now, so as you read the book, you're actually watching her remember her past.
So her memory is actually
It's coming back in bits and pieces.
Ooh.
While she's got a police investigation going on with two savvy investigators trying to really fill in blanks that they don't already know.
Wow.
And then by the end, you realize, you know, a person who's even innocent, even victims are not always innocent.
Yeah.
Because
Correct.
she had a whole different life.
Okay.
And as she starts remembering it, you are actually reading her remember it in real time.
Yeah.
So it's one of those stories that once you dive into it, you're not going to want to put the book down.
Who are some of your favorite authors? Actually, you know, you read books. Who are authors out there that you look and say, hey, I like Dan Brown. I like what's his name?
In terms of complete books, I only read two books. A book about I think his nickname was Whitey. He was a prisoner from Alcatraz.
Oh,
I visited Alcatraz.
You
in the
read
90s.
his book?
I read his book. I met him. He signed it for me. I don't know where the book is now. I lost
He's
the book.
dead.
He's dead now.
He's dead.
Yeah, but I
He was
met
a
him.
snitch.
I know. But I met the guy because I went to Alcatraz, and I think he was
How did
of
you land
three. Well, vacation.
So they let you have a tour in Alcatraz?
Yeah,
Really?
it was closed at the time. Trust me, it wasn't like
That's
it wasn't
what I'm
the prison then. No.
Right.
This was back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was already closed.
Because Johnny Depp actually portrayed him in a movie called Whitey. Huh?
Whitey, yes.
So you met the individual Whitey personally?
And I bought his book. Yeah.
Okay, next time you come and bring that book, I want to see
I
it.
don't know where the book is anymore because this was before.
Stop.
No, seriously. Because I read his book and I read the first book from Colin Powell. Those were the two books I read in their entirety from back to front.
What was the name of that book?
That book, it was his first book. It was the first one. I don't remember the name exact because he got like 4 books. It was his first one where he talked about his parents was from Jamaica and he liked Sparrow. He liked the Sparrow music, Calypso music.
Never read anything from Alex Haley?
No. I didn't read any fiction books at all.
John Grisham?
Once I started to write the books, I can't read their books.
But you're writing fiction. How you can say you can't read no fiction?
Because if I read them now, I may actually take something from their books and include it in mine. And
so then you don't read John Grisham either?
No. I watch their movies and I watch his, I think John Grisham, isn't it? He's the guy that did Criminal Minds, I think?
Yeah. It was a movie, but he had a book on it also. Yeah, a lot of good books.
A lot of good books.
He used to go to St. Bart's to write, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I can't really read fictional books now.
I'm not too sure the Hurricane Destroyer, but I know you used to go over to St. Bart's to write. Yeah.
If I read fictional books now, I may take something subconsciously and then it'll get me in trouble. So I just decided I'm not going to read any until I stop writing completely.
So what are some of your favorite books? I mean, in addition to the Whitey, who was a mob boss and a snitch in the end, and also the late Colin Powell's book. So what is it about Whitey that you liked so much about that book? I mean, just basically him and being in Alcatraz and just. It was intriguing for me at the time. I was in my 20s, so that was the time of Goodfellas. Feel like you're becoming a celebrity?
No, a real life gangster actually.
Yeah. So you want to grow up to be a gangster? No, seriously though. Yeah, these are Goodfellas and Casino.
Those were the movies at the time. So that was intriguing to meet a real life gangster. And I think he told me he was one of the last 3 people who actually did time in Alcatraz that was still alive.
Yeah, because before they shut it down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was interesting to
Yeah.
Had I thought at the time I would be writing books, oh man. If I had started to write books way back then, I would have had like 1,000 books.
Nothing happens before it's time. Take your time. Take your time, Calvin. is your time now.
Yeah. So the goal up until 2030, by 2030 I want to have 10 books at least. So this year I'm going to do 3, and then I'm going to kind of slow down, and then really start to do the book tours in the States, all the book shows, and have a table and sell the books one-on-one, talk to potential readers and that kind of stuff. I want to get into.
Why do that in the US? Have you done that here? Not yet.
Yeah, I've done that here on the launches of the books, but I try to get the timing so I could come down when there was things happening that I could just have a desk, but my timing is always off.
Yeah, but you've been here? This is the longest you've ever been here.
No, I come for 6 weeks, 3 times annually.
Right.
The last few years, and then, but I do meet people. Like a few weeks ago, I went to all the schools, most of the high schools.
So let's get back to Asha Stevens campus. I like this. They gave you this.
I produced this book for them.
Oh, nay. Yeah. I mean, oh yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So
this is nice.
Yeah. So every child. So there was 50 kids in the K1 class. And every child got a book. The teachers, they got a book, and the school got a book. And this was sponsored by Pineapple Pete, myself, and Dee's Healthy Living Solution, which is beautifulandhealthyyou.com.
This is nice,
Calvin. Yeah, and so you get the teachers even having a page of who they were, what their dreams were, what they wanted to be when they grow up.
Okay.
And I said to parents all the time, as long as your child can talk, ask them what they want to be when they grow up.
Yeah.
And it's going to change over the years.
Of course.
This is where we document it from kindergarten. Now, these kids will grow up 20 years from now. You could go back into this book and see what they want it to be.
And each one actually is, every page is written by the
actual child. So each child got 2 pages.
Yeah.
So they write it with a pencil first, and then they trace it over with a pen after, and then it's actually put together, and so they have a piece of history forever, basically. And it's them writing their own history.
I have on my refrigerator, I have something. It was a Christmas bell my daughter drew, and she made when she was in what is it? School. When she was in the kindergarten. Yeah, and I still have that. And I cherish that so much, and it's right there on my refrigerator.
I have a few actually framed at home.
And she looks at and she looks at it whenever she comes to me. She said, "Ma, I don't believe you." I said, "You leave that right there." I said, "That was the first thing you made for me for Christmas when you were in kindergarten." And I said, "I cherish that so much."
And that's we need to do more of that.
Yeah.
My daughter actually had that when she was going to school. It was a 3-part series. It was my favorite thing to do. All about me and when I grew up. So I merged those 3 into this one book, and kids can actually share it.
Why did you choose Asha Stevens campus though?
Because I knew a teacher there. Her name is Geraldine, I think. Geraldine something. She's the one with the glasses. That's this one. No, she's not an ex. She's a young girl.
Okay.
So I met her. She's a sales girl, and I was introducing someone to a project she was working on, and that's how we met. And I realized I knew her mom. She works at the government buildings, stuff like that for years and years and years. And so that was the connection.
Right.
And when she told me she was a teacher, and I thought of this book, I contacted her. Strangely enough,
how did she react when you actually approached her about it?
Well, she's like, I gotta talk to the school, I gotta talk to the teachers, the other teacher, because there's 2 classes. So
2A and
2B.
2B.
So both had to be involved, otherwise it couldn't work. But funny enough, my sister-in-law now has one of those classes. So I had to give her that book, and she always remind her class, hey, D'Angelo, if you want to be a police officer, you're gonna have to behave. And she turns around and uses it against them.
I see one here. My name is Nathan Assim. My birthday is November 10th. My favorite color is blue. My favorite game is DLS 24, my favorite thing to do is when I grow up, I want to be a police officer.
Right. And
That's awesome.
yeah,
I
exactly.
like that.
And then
I like
he
that.
draw himself from how he sees himself as a police officer.
Yeah. How old are these kids?
They're 4 and 5.
Nay. Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
4 and 5.
And every one of them got a copy
A
of
copy
this
of
book.
the book to take
I
home
see
for
one
free.
here who is my name is Akiza Libatik. My birthday is May 9th. My favorite color is red, like me. My favorite game is hide and seek. Yeah, my favorite thing to do when I grow up. I want to be a doctor.
There you go.
I
So you get their minds are already turning and they're inspired. And now it's for the parents to get them around the people who they want to be like or become, and so they can have these interaction and nurture that yearning to become.
And each one of them got a copy of the book.
Yes, each one of them got a copy of the book to take home free of charge. This was
Like a
no cost.
reminder when they grow up, like, hey, remember when you were 5 years old or when you were 6 years old, this is what you wanted to be.
My daughter wanted to be a teacher at 6 years old. And then she switched to veterinarian. She wanted to work to be a producer. She wanted to be a journalist. And then when she went to college, she studied education. And she became a teacher. She is a teacher now. I could go back and say that's what she wanted to be since she was 6 years old.
Yeah, I remember I wanted to be a lot of things. I wanted to actually be a teacher. Then I wanted to be a doctor's assistant. A doctor assistant for, because I used to admire my dentist every time I go, and I used to see the lady coming there, and I was like, I love this one. And then eventually, I remember I wrote a play. I never forgot that. I wrote a Christmas play for school, and then I said I want to be like a movie director because I directed it. And I'm talking about, how old was I? 12 years? 12? Yeah. I wasn't 13. I think I was like 10, 11 years old, and I was directing it. I actually created this play, and it was short. It was short, and I wrote it, and it was short and sweet. And then the teachers, of course, assisted me. And then I wanted to be a restaurant manager. Then I wanted to be a chef. And then eventually, in the end, here I am.
Well, I started off wanting to be a mailman.
Why that? Why?
My uncle was a mailman. He had this brown uniform with black stripe down the side.
Oh, you like that?
I like that. And he was tall and slim, and I was a skinny little boy, so I kind of saw, myself going to be that. And then by the time I was probably 8 or 9, I wanted to be a policeman. Yeah. Then by 12, I wanted to be a businessman, business owner. And then by 14, I wanted to be a Marine. Right. And then I went back to police officer, and then I became a businessman, went in the Marines for real, and then I was going to become a police officer, but then
what happened?
The business superseded. I was accepted in the police uplading and everything. And when the time comes, I stumbled onto cellular phones. Okay. And the rest is history.
Just keep changing. I see one kid here wants to be, it's Zayander Brian wants to be a soldier. I see a lot of them want to be doctors,
nurses,
dentists. We're going to need a lot of those in the hospital, and by the time they come around, I see one here wants to be a firefighter. Yeah.
And we need to nurture these things now.
Exactly.
Because we talk about the last time was talking about.
While the brain is still developing.
And you have to encourage them. You got to bring them in those areas. Let them go to the fire department, talk to firemen, firefighters.
That ball coach. Look at that.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this. Firefighter, nurse. This one wants to be a doctor.
I think every primary school, every first, second, third grade should do projects like
this.
Yeah. Yes. Every school.
Of course.
And because it's kind of like a time capsule also. Yeah. So because when you look back, you could
laugh about it, but then at the same time you could look at it in both ways and say, Boy, look at that. When I was 5, 6 years old, I
Yeah.
wanted to be a nurse. And look at me here today. I am in the hospital
Yeah,
as
exactly.
a nurse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I grew up.
So we need to stimulate the children's brain and have them talk
So
to you
sweet.
and imagine and say what they
Stimulate the
imagine.
brain in
Yeah.
every positive way possible.
And they'll be documented, so they record
Yeah.
their own history
Right.
for the making. So I think all the schools should do that. I'm shopping around to all the schools
Yes,
to try to get
of
them
course,
involved,
of
and
course.
hopefully we'll see what goes on.
That's a great idea, Calvin. Wow, nice conversation this morning as usual.
Thank you.
I want to thank you so much for coming in. Anything you'd like to wrap it up with this morning? We
Yes.
covered basically everything.
Yeah, all the books are available. So you got Learning the Business of Life, Gabriel, Dating Advice to My Daughter, and The Salesman are available at Pineapple Pete in Cold Bay, the Mailbox in Simpson Bay, Van Dub, both locations, the Simartin Public Library. All the books are available there in all locations. Christian Bookstore on Canagita Street, Adolphus Richardson in the Palmville, Anya Bookstore. My boy Brian in French Quarter. Brian actually would deliver the books for you.
Okay.
553-0071. And Amma Store on Front Street and the St. Martin Museum.
All right. Good.
So get your copy today.
Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna read Gabriel first, like you said,
Yeah.
before I do the
Salesman.
the salesman, because Gabriel actually is a more, I think, something that
Yeah, it's a crime drama.
It's a crime
yeah,
drama.
and it's got a lot of twist and turn, and whatever you think, you're never going to guess how the ending is going to be.
Yeah. All right. Radio listeners, that's going to do it for yours truly this morning. I want to thank you all for listening, and your viewers, of course. Thank you all here on this beautiful Monday morning. It looks like it's overcast, rainy today in Phillipsburg as well. Enjoy the rest of the day, what's left of it. Have a great one today and even better one tomorrow. We got news coming up next year, followed by Joanne Lewis when the more is in at 12, and then Dilo's house on today for you from 2 p.m. to 5 o'clock. So I'll see you all back here tomorrow morning.